Hi, I'm Madame Pamita, and I love teaching about magic. If you have a question about spells, the law of attraction, spirituality, witchcraft, Slavic folk magic, spirits, divination, you can join me on Sundays at the Live Magic Q&A where we record an episode of my podcast, Magic and the Law of Attraction, and then I answer your questions on anything mystical or magical live over Zoom. Just go to spellsquad.com to get the link to join me in the clubhouse. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the bell icon so you get a gentle, magical reminder and you'll be the first witch to see whenever anything new goes up. Here's a great tidbit from one of our past Q&As answering a really important spiritual question.
Okay, so Bruce has a question, a philosophical question. Since it appears that every divination tool can be used as a magical tool, is the opposite true that every magical tool can be used as a divination tool? It's an interesting question. I think there's a lot of crossover. I don't know that every single one can be used, but most can be used. So if we think about, I tend to think in that way. I kind of grew up doing divination and magic hand in hand. So I'm trying to think of one that you couldn't use as a divination tool. Maybe that's the place to start, because if you think about it, let's talk about the different kinds of magic that you can use and do and how you can use it for divination. So easy one, candle magic, right? I talk about it in my book, The Book of Candle Magic. You see me talk about it all the time. You can read the wax, you can read the flame, you can read the smoke, and you can read the wax remains of a candle and use it as a divination. Now, we would use that as a divination about the topic that you're doing the candle spell about, right? So if you're doing a candle spell, then let's say you're doing a love spell, then you would see what needs to happen next. How did your spell go? What information you need to know about the love situation, for example. But I think there's also divination that can be done in other forms of magic. For example, cleansing bath. If you have a cleansing bath that has some herbs in it, it won't work for salt per se, but it could work very well for cleansing baths like the ones we sell at the shop. The bath crystals that we sell at the shop have herbs in them. And so they can be used for divination as well. When you take your bath and after you let the water run out, you look at the herbs that remain in the bathtub and you can read them like you read tea leaves. Tea leaves are a great example. If you're doing a potion, like the potion kits that we have at the shop, you can read the tea leaf remains in your cup and do a tea leaf reading there. So that's a form of divination as well. I'm trying to think if there's another. I can't think of a divination that you would do with sachet powder, except it's a little bit different. Most sachet powders and oils you're using on something. So there isn't necessarily a divination component with them per se, although I do talk about, my friend James Devine and I talk about smellomancy, which is using your sense of smell to select the oil or the sachet powder to work with. If the smell is attractive to you, then it's a message to you that that's something you could be working on magically. So it's kind of divination. It's not predicting anything, but it's telling you what you need to work on. So there's a divination quality there. I'm trying to think if there's anything that you couldn't. I really can't think of anything that you couldn't use it as a divination tool. I mean, there are all kinds of ways to divine. When you start looking for omens and oracles, omens, not oracles, sorry, omens out in the world, you can see that anything can be a divination, right? A cloud can give us a divination. Water reflection can give us a divination. Mirrors can give us a divination. We can use anything really. Any household implement can be turned into a divination tool if you get creative with it. So certainly any magical tool, if you get creative with it. I can't think of one that you can't use in some divinatory way. Herbs, yeah, you can use herbs, like, as I mentioned, potions and in your bath and so on. You can read smoke. So incense can be used. I think everything that you use for magic can have a quality of divination if you want it to. That's the other thing. for many years, I did candle magic without divining anything from it. So that is a perfectly legitimate way to work if you don't feel inclined to use it as for divination, or you aren't interested, or yeah, you don't have to, but you can.